Welcome. In this video, I'm going to highlight some miniatures and terrain by Dungeons & Lasers as they prepare for a new campaign on Gamefound. As many of you know, in addition to tabletop board games, I also play RPGs too, and enjoy including miniatures and terrain into those games to spice up the adventures. And Dungeons & Lasers are making an encounter set to expand on their existing line of models. This Encounters campaign goes live on Gamefound June 14th and will end on June 28th. It will include terrain for environments such as woods, swamps, and ruins, along with playmats, creature models, and more items to be unlocked. And they have provided me with some more items from their previous campaigns. You can see some of my other unboxings on my channel. They've also provided me with some of their items from previous campaigns to highlight on the channel, along with some other things I've already unboxed. I'll put a link up here in the corner to check that out. And they've given me a sample of their new Mountains and Hills. So you can see all this stuff is going to come on sprues and unpainted. So this is for the role player or miniature gamer that likes doing some painting. And to be honest, looking at the detail, you can use some contrast paints if you're not that big into painting, and things are going to still look good and pop up well. So I'll go ahead and pop these off the sprues and take a closer look at those individually. So I've got them off the sprues and just taking a closer look at them so you can see some of the detail on there for easy painting. And they are laid out in different sections, so they're easy to take your miniatures if you're trying to move them there. So you kind of tell this is a 5-foot square and so forth on each of the different terrains. And that's important because if you're playing with your miniatures, you definitely want them to be able to be placed down and stay on your spots as you're fighting on the different levels. So they're miniature friendly on this to have them run through the terrain. And this is the only item I have that is in the new campaign, but it gives you an idea. This is some solid quality here, no bending. It's going to be carefree. You don't have to be worrying about dropping them or anything. It's going to do just fine. So moving on to some of the easier stuff to get out of the box, we'll take a look at some of the stairs. So they have a stone town stair set and a wooden town stair set. So just a small box, and this came from their Wood Haven campaign. So Armand, a Towns Guard captain, decided to take care of the Towns Guard's health and endurance. So now each guarding station at walls has stairs, no more ladders. That investment helped prevent accidents, injuries, and guards are in much better shape. Pure benefits. So they're going to come in two different pieces to put those together, and like everything else, they are on sprues, so we'll have to cut those off. So you can see we can just basically, from the picture, we're going to glue two together to make one block, and the steps, same thing, put those together so they can make it up to their guard tower nice and easily. So I'll go ahead and cut these off in a second, but we'll go ahead and unbox the wooden town stairs. It's going to be very similar. So we're trying to make that out of it. So we've got stairs going up and our platforms and basically our shape holding everything together. So I'll go ahead and cut these off and try to glue those together real quick. Well, the glue is still wet, but we'll go ahead and put these together. So you can see they just glue together pretty easily there. You can see it's still drying a bit, but basically just to build this, put those there, add the steps going up to it, then going up to the next level. And there we have our stone town stairs, and the same thing for the wooden ones. Just bring our steps in, go to the next level, bring this in, and steps going on up. And with steps done, we are going to move into some bigger rooms. So going into the Royal Castle Fantasy Room, and there's several different rooms for this. So in addition to the Royal Castle Room, we have the mansion, some lava caverns, then we go into some city streets, and we also have some sewers. So these are going to be a lot of connecting walls or tiles, and then some walls to be built into it. So we will get started with taking a look at the castle and open that up. And basically we're just going to have some sheets here. So what these are going to be pieces to connect our rooms together. Then we've got spaces to bring in the walls and to fill in some holes if we need to. So we'll go ahead and cut some of these out to show you this process, and then I'll go ahead and finish this off. So looking at our sprues here, we've got some of our walls and our tiles, and you see they're laid out for our minis to be on there, so you can tell where they are and move them as needed. Definitely a lot of detail for painting, and like I said, contrast paints are going to make this so easy. So there's one tile, and looks like we're going to have 3 basically sprues of the same pieces to put together. All right, so I've done a little work here, got everything laid out. So basically what we have 3 of each piece here. So we've got a 2x4 for floor sections. Just looking at the bottom, this is areas where you put our connectors in. So if we're going to another floor section, or if we're going towards a wall or door, we'll put those in. We'll go over that in a little bit. We've got 3 of our 2x2 sections, 3 short complete walls. And then we have 3 short walls with a small window for a view. 3 doorways. And 3 longer walls with 3 windows in there. In the process of putting these together, like I said, if you're going to another floor piece, you just put that in there and connect. And for a small room, pretty sturdy there. You will notice there will be a hole section there. The way to get around that, if you're trying to build a section that will not have that hole, is you can take these little things here and they will fit right in there. But because of my eyes, I'm going to take this a little off camera, and you push that right in there. Then when you go to build something, you can put the connection in there and you will not see that hole. Now, one reason why you might want that is so you can make a doorway. So then place this down, and now you have a doorway going in there. And if you needed an outside wall, so that's a basic process of building, and all the different sets are going to work like that with Dungeons and Lasers. That's their process. So I'm going to go ahead and go off camera and build as much of that as possible and come back and take a look at it. So here is the Royal Castle all finished. So you can see if you need to get this built to take to your game, it is going to be pretty steady there with all the connectors. See if I can turn this over so you can see how I built it. So I did run out of the half-size ones there, so I have 3 of the longer ones holding up there, but not that big a deal. We can just throw some hedges on that to hide that. So we've got our doorways, some windows, and so forth. You can see how that all works together. So in addition to that one, the Royal Castle, we also have some lava caverns, the mansion, city streets, and the sewers. So I'll go ahead and unbox those and put those together off screen. So we'll start with the city streets ones. Look around for quests. So we've got some short sidewalks, long L-shaped corners, long streets, and short streets. Taking a look in here, we're going to have the same connection system. So we've got 2 of those, and then looks like we've got 6 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So showing off our streets and the sidewalks, curb and gutter. And I think they're all going to be exactly the same. Yep. Then we have the mansion fantasy room. Nice little cottage. It's going to be very similar to the one I just built. So pulling that out. Got our connector pieces. And 1, 2, 3, very similar. So we've got an open window, a dual closed window or screened doorways, 2x2, 2x4, and a long wall. And 3 sections of the same. Of course, a trim piece also. Then going into the lava caverns. Check out those pieces there, some lava doorways. All right, so definitely different material here. So we're connecting pieces, nice and shiny and reflective. Our lava door. Then we have our walls down here and our lava floors. So 3 of each of those. And then our big one, the sewer wastes. Don't get wet. So looking on the back there, showing no glue for assembly, which is true on all the others. Sewer doorways, our regular walls, long walls, and the nice green sewage. So like our lava, we've got some trays there for our sewer floors with connectors inside. So it looks like we have 4 of those trays, all the same. Then our walls, not covered in sewage. Looks like we have 4 of those. So long wall, the doorway, 3 regular walls, and a place where sewage can jump out and fall on our miniatures. Then some more just plain old sewage, nothing to walk on purpose anyway. Got 2 of those and regular connectors. All right, so our first thing out is the city streets. See, I've got that somewhat put together in a miniature out here. And I'll try to pick this up and see how that goes. Get a closer look at this. So we've got our nice sidewalk, curb, and the rock street for any role-playing game. You can see this fairly steady. Taking a look on the back, how everything looks. Putting it together. And of course, the one house we have already looked at, the castle, that can be brought in and just attach right to the street however you want. So we can have that showing up just like that. And the connectors will work if I wanted to swap those out. So very interchangeable. So once again, that was the Royal Castle we've already looked at. Next up, I've got the Tudor Mansion, and if someone takes the time to paint this, that's going to look awesome looking. So here's that one put together. So you can see the door, some different types of windows in there, and just the detail on that to get painted. The interior, we'll set that on this side of the street. And that one does have the long pieces on it. We can cover them up and have it right attached. Next, somewhere in this city, we have the lava caverns. So taking a look at that one, of course, you can see through there and wave right at you. So that'll be pretty neat if you get some lights around there. So we've got our lava entrance, and pretty much all the walls are the same, just single wide or double in length. So got that one. And we're visiting this town because we know we are going to end up in the sewers because that's where all the good treasure is. So I've tried to put that together. And very much like the lava, that's going to be see-through underneath. But you see, we've got some steps in there to go to different doorways or sewer outlets and gates. So very detailed. See about someone maybe painting that. Of course, I am holding it up, so it is starting to bend a little bit. But it's not really meant to be held up and moved around like this. So close up on that. And I do have some extra pieces, of course. Some of that. All the other pieces were used in those buildings. Of course, we do have some extras of these. And from everything else, some connectors. So that's a quick look at all of the rooms. And lastly, we have some miniatures to look at. So first we'll start with the Ghost Dragon. We'll take everything out of each of these and then go off screen and try to assemble them. So the Ghost Dragon, the Dragon Slayer's Nightmare. You can say that again. So So take a look at this. So you can see that's going to be translucent. And we do have some directions here on how to put this together. And apparently 24 easy steps. So here's the pieces, or the sprues. Just taking a quick look at that. And the rock pieces underneath. And the rest of the dragon there. Then we have the thul, the defiler. So back to some normal plastic here. So the manual on putting this in from Dungeons and Lasers 2. So 16 easy steps. So looking at those pieces. Then we have some stretch goals. All the pieces matter. Rise of the Phoenix, Pepe the Giant, the Hungry Troll, and a market stall. So directions when putting these together. We've got the stall there. So some nice detail on everything. And then the rest of the sprues. So I'm going to be busy for quite some time here. But for you all, just be a minute or so. Nice detail on the wings. And then lastly, we have our townsfolk starter set. So a whole bunch of people in this one. Real foundation of Woodhaven. So here we've got a nice list. So anything from the gravedigger all the way up to the range guard. So a whole lot of different miniatures, even a construct, some rat folk, peddlers, and so forth. So taking that out. A little manual for putting everything together. So definitely going to take some time on that. I think I saw a disclaimer in there. These miniatures need to be assembled with more force. That's good to know. So the sprues on that. Then the bases for everybody. And then all the sprues for these miniatures. And I think I'm just going to put a couple of these together and not really do everything here. So I'll be back in a bit. And I'm back after trying not to glue my fingers together, and I failed with that, so I've stopped with just getting 5 of the smaller ones done and the 5 large ones. And a little market here, so we'll start with that bin. So that went together real easy, no issues there at all. And then the small ones, other than I did these last, my fingers were glued together, came together real easy. So we can go to the tavern and get some beer. Or go get our armor fixed. And of course there are a lot more to make, because it's basically a whole city you can do. Then I've got Pepe the Giant put together, so he's got a little friend on his back. And moving rocks. Then we have our Hungry Troll. He's got his hamburger meal. Almost ready to eat. And back here we have Rise of the Phoenix. Only problems I had on this one, when you put it together, you want to make sure it gets weighted correctly, or else it's going to fall forward or fall back. So did have to undo it there. But once you know that, so basically I recommend putting on the wings first and then putting it on the base so you can see how that gets balanced, but definitely a lot of detail in there. Then we have our Thol, the defiler. He went together real easy. Pretty neat on this model. Then lastly, the one I had the most trouble with is the Ghost Dragon. So I'm not sure if I'm a real fan of this type of material when it comes to our minis. Neat concept, but I still think it's going to need to be painted. But all in all, that is the miniatures for Dungeons and Lasers. And be sure to check out their new campaign for encounters on Gamefound. So as always, hope you enjoyed this video. So please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.